Hello commanders, my name is Dan Kober and I'm gonna show you a bit more about Elite Dangerous. In the last part of this mini series of tutorials or short tips, whatever, I show you a bit about controls and how to maneuver your ship and how to travel from one point to another inside the star system and between two star systems. In this part I'm gonna talk about a bit more about basically what can you do now in Elite, since you know how to do some basic things, so now you need to do something in this game. Well, first of all, you need to know what this game is and what this game is not. This game is at her core sandbox at the basic definition of that name. So basically, imagine this game as classical children's sandbox on the playground, and you're dropped in that sandbox. You got your tools, your bucket, your little shovel, and it's up to you what you will do in that with the sand and how you will mold it, how will you play with it. It's all up to you. There is very little that the game itself will give you or instruct you what to do. So basically it's quite similar to some sort of plane simulator games where you basically got your plane and your mission is basically to fly from point A to point B. But there is a couple of different things that you can do in this game, and I'm gonna show you just in this part some basic elements of these parts, and in other parts I'll go a bit in details for each of everyone. So basically what you have in this game, you have this you have your ship, you have the stations, you have the star systems. Then you can go to and basically you can visit each and every star system on the galaxy map, from here to all the way to other end of the galaxy if you like. There's basically no restrictions where you can travel or what you can visit. Basically the restriction is what your ship is capable of doing. So for example, you can't travel maybe with some basic ship or some ship that has a short jump range all the way to other parts of the galaxy, because physically it won't be able to do it. But it's still possible. So it's the same as with every other part of the game. You're not restricted to do anything, but it all depends at what you are capable and what your ship is capable of doing. So we have this large space. It is vast, it is big, but it's also procedurally generated mostly, and basically it is completely. So there is a lot of repetition. System to system might look the same without any significant difference. Maybe one will have more stars, more planets, the other one less. Starports and space stations look more or less the same. There are a couple of different variation models and stuff like that, and that's basically the downside of procedurally generated worlds, because the things start to repeat after a while. But still it's quite interesting and quite large space, so you don't because of that you get the feeling of the grandness of the whole thing and stuff like that. And you have the different types of ships that you can control in this game, and they all use the same user interface, which is actually neat, because switching from ship to ship. It doesn't basically, you don't have any need to adjust to its user interface to set up different buttons, controls, and things like that. They all basically function the same, but they do act differently. For example, I'm currently in Vulture. It's sort of a heavy fighter, and it acts completely different than some big trading ship. It's faster, more maneuver, have better weapons options, shields and stuff like that. So it's quite it's more specialized for a fighting role, while some trading ships have bigger cargo but don't have any, or have very limited weaponry options and stuff like that. The other thing that you can sort of interact in this world are players itself who play the game. But since the update 1.2, this interaction with other players has grown quite a lot since they introduced the Wings update, which allows you to team up with other players and work together, fight together and stuff like that. Before that, this option was not available in the game, and interaction with other players was quite limited. I mean, it's still limited at this point also, but it's much better than it was. And basically the other players in the community are the main source of some interesting stuff to do in this game, and it's quite important for you as a player to basically participate in other off-game activities, let's call them like that, like some different discussions on forums, Reddit, and other places, because the players basically are here to substitute the actual to substitute basically some in-game storyline or in-game missions, stuff like that, because the game as it is doesn't have some story or progression level as usually games do, where you start the game, you have some initial quest, then you go from one quest to another and the story progresses, you have some cutscenes, blah blah blah, and you go from one point in the story to the end of the story, and after that you have your free roam to do whatever you like in the world where you played the main story. Here the main story is non-existent. You're basically thrown in directly in the open play free roam world, so it's basically up to you as the player to make up your own story. What you will do? Will you be trader? Will you be bounty hunter? Will you be pirate, miner? Will you came up with some background story for your in-game character and stuff like that? So and that's the thing basically the other players are doing, and you can see on quite a lot of events started by players, which are always nicely followed by the developers' support for those events and stuff like that. So always been in touch with what people are writing, say what's currently happening and stuff like that. So it's there is also a couple of online radio stations where they play music, and they also play they have news from the in-game world with updates, what's happening, what factions are at war and stuff like that. So now that's some basic stuff about Elite Dangerous and basically my opinion about it. I mean, I personally play it for what's that, almost 4 months now, and I play it on daily basis, and I still haven't got bored of it, and it's still fun, still exciting, still cringe-worthy, still nails biting, and it still managed to visually amaze me from time to time, even though I've mostly seen most of the game. But this procedurally generated world also means that the things that will be procedurally generated are not that predictable, so it can most of the time you'll get it some same old boring stuff, but from time to time you will come along to something that is quite breathtaking. So yeah, I was at the beginning saying that there are a couple of basic things that you can do in Elite Dangerous. There are, in essence, 4 major roles that you can do in the Elite. First would be fighting, so you can fight other players, NPCs, stuff like that. Then it's trading, exploring, and finally mining. And with that you can basically expand that to maybe 6 different roles that you can play in the game. So that would be trading, exploring, mining, and then we can separate fighting to bounty hunting, conflict zone fighting, and piracy. And all of this except mining can be also condensed to the missions that you can get on stations. So to do any of that you definitely need, first of all, some experience credits and stuff like that. I mean, you can't start mining without buying the mining equipment for your ship. For that you need some credits. For trading you would need a ship that's capable of carrying more than 2 tons of cargo, and you'll need some starting capital to buy goods that you will trade. For fighting you'll need a fighting capable ship with decent weaponry, shields, etc, etc. So initially when you start playing the game, your first goal is to stop being poor, to say it like that. Basically you need to earn some initial money that will help you gather more money. Basically it's almost like a real world. You're dumping this big old ugly mess of the world, and it's up to you to do your best to get along. So as a new player who's just started to play, the easiest way to earn some initial money is to go through missions and to play through a couple of those missions that you can obtain on basically most of the stations around the universe. And what missions to choose, how to finish some of them, what to be aware of, what to be careful for, and what to do and what not to do, I will cover next part, which will be specifically dedicated to missions. So for now this is it from me, and we'll see each other in the next part. Bye bye.